Counting down from 10 to 1, faster than a hurricane. Calling out to everyone, are you mad or insane?
All right, everybody, we're here today at the Burton Cummings Theater, which used to be called the Walker Theater, and I still always call it the Walker. And we're here with Zach Myers from Shinedown,
who has been singing "These Eyes" by the Guess Who all day.
Yeah,
ever since I found out what the name of this place was.
That's unfortunate, man.
It is.
It's very unfortunate.
It will not go away either. That song is relentless once it gets stuck in your head.
Dude, I mean, I didn't know who Burton Cummings was for the longest time because I was a way bigger fan of BTO than I was of the Guess Who.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I knew American Woman, and that was
BTO was post Guess Who, right?
Yes. Yeah. And like, man, I can't imagine being Burton Cummings when Bachman and Hood taking care of business and like.
Hey, come on though, dude. Burton Cummings sang some bangers.
He did, and he's a great singer, and they are a great band.
Yeah. You were team BTO.
Oh yes,
all right,
100%.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I have a thing like that. Me and Drew are split on our Oasis decision.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I'm with the cool one.
I'm with the cool one. He's with the fucking nerdy one.
Well,
all right.
Who wrote
the
all
cool
the songs.
one, like I said, the
Who
cool
wrote
one.
all the songs, but my guy was the cool one.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so since we're on that topic, then let's go right after it. Van Halen or Van Hagar?
Hagar.
Oh, I love you, Zach.
Dude, songs.
And
Songs.
can sing,
Songs and can sing.
right? Like,
And also not a dickhead.
Yeah. those
yeah.
things help.
Those things help. No, man, I love Van Halen, and I love that era of Van Halen. I hardly ever listen to the radio, but if I'm listening to the radio and a David Lee Roth era Van Halen song comes on, I'm not turning it off.
Yeah.
But if a Sammy song comes on, I'm turning it up.
Yeah. I mean, for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, like Pound Cake was my favorite tune, the first Van Halen song I learned how to play on guitar, and I have been like just ridiculed by most of our.
Dude, Pound Cake is amazing, and also what people give me a lot of grief because my favorite Van Halen solo is my favorite Van Halen song, which doesn't have a lot of guitar in it, which is Right Now.
Yeah.
The Right Now solo is so up my alley because it's bluesy and it's Eddie. It's got like both things in it. It's got a ton of bending, and also I think that song will get you more hyped to do anything in your life than any song like that or DMX, like one or the other. You're either barking like a dog or you're singing Right Now by Van Halen. But it makes me just, I don't know, man. That song, I feel like I could run through a brick wall after listening to that song.
Dude, the whole For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge for record for me is like that, and I get shit on all the time. Yeah, for saying that, and I'm like, I love old Van Halen stuff too. I like it.
I kind of started listening to Van Halen on the Hagar area too. I was born in '83.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was born in '80, so we're in kind of the same boat. It's the same thing when we were going for coffee yesterday that somebody said Rush, and I was like, no, I cannot handle Geddy Lee's voice at all. And to me, it fits into the same kind of thing as David Lee Roth.
You know what it is? I don't think I probably I own Roll the Bones because that was kind of like my quintessential record when I was growing up. That was the first Rush I was introduced to.
Yeah.
But I don't own like a whole Rush record. But again, his voice is an acquired taste. But I still like Rush. I don't put it on in my car. But
Yeah.
I'm a Rush fan.
Nice.
but it's not like your favorite.
No, not my favorite band.
Cool.
Both my favorite bands are Irish, actually, which freaks a lot.
U2 and
U2 at Ted Lizzy.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I've done a couple of U2 shows when they've come through Winnipeg. So actually, you and I, we first met back
2005.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back you were out as were you as a guitar tech or what? Yeah.
Guitar tech,
For Dirks
Bentley. Yeah.
Yep. And I was working as a rigger at this country festival about 3 hours from here.
Yeah.
And I remember you were wearing a Shinedown hoodie, and I was like, man, I'm like, I love that band. And you're like, thanks, man. That's my band. And I was like,
so when we started, I'm sure
guy.
that's hard to believe.
I know a guy.
You see a guy tuning guitars for a country act. Dirks wouldn't even headline. I think Randy Travis headlined or something. And it was so weird because for the first, 5 years in our band that I was here, I would still if someone asked me to go do it, I would go tech. And there's 3 artists now that I still tell this to. One is Three Doors Down, one is Sister Hazel, and anybody in Aerosmith, like Brad, if Brad called me or something like that, I would go do that immediately. Like if it was like a weekend, like if I was home, I got kids now, so it's different. But if I had some time off and somebody was like, dude, we got 2 shows, we can't find anybody, I'm there.
Yeah.
Or I'm calling Drew to go do it.
Nice. Hey, Drew, I loaned you out.
Sorry. I farmed you out.
Yeah. I've gotten that twice over. Hey, I loaned you out to Gavin. I loaned you out.
I would, you know, for me, like, I love guitars. I love working on guitars, you know. It's, so whenever we had a break, I think for that Dirks thing, and their tech couldn't get into Canada or something. And Jay called me and was like, dude, do you know anybody? I'm like, I'll do it. He's like, you're in Shinedown now. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll still do it. Like I said, there's certain bands I would still do it for.
Dude, yeah, I remember like Burning Bright was like big here, like right when you were there. And I remember talking to my brother afterwards, and I'm like, that dude's in Shinedown, and he's like, I don't know who that is. And I'm like, yeah, you do. I'm like, that tune was played on Power 97 here like all the time.
Really?
And I'm like, dude, you know that song because it was up here. It was like brand new. That's how come I knew who you were, because I was like, or when I saw the hoodie, I was like, yeah, shit.
Here's how I made a set list mistake tonight.
Nice. Well, I mean, it's only been 17 years, so you know you have had a couple of other hits since then. So
like the rest of the set,
like the whole rest of the set. Yeah. There's one non-number 1 song in the set tonight, and it's the first song in the set.
Wow. Well, congrats on that. That's
Thank you.
amazing.
It's you know, it's like I tell people all the time. They're like, how's it feel? You know, you have the most Billboard #1s of all time in the history of the rock chart. I'm like, it feels like Monopoly money. And it's cool to say,
right?
But like, I'm still a fan. I went to 2 shows in the last 2 days off.
Nice.
You know, most of our guys are like, I'm not going on a show on a day off. Dude, like, I go see music. If there's a band in town and we have a day off, I'm going. That's just how I am. I'm still such a fan of music. So like that stuff still seems fake to me, that we like have the most #1s or whatever. We just got nominated for a VMA today. That was really cool. Yeah. I'm just like, yeah, it's just, you know, I take all that stuff with a grain of salt. Doesn't mean anything to me, really. It means a lot to get the notoriety, I guess. But at the same time, like, if people come to the show, like, that's all. That's literally.
Well, I mean, that's what keeps you able to keep doing it. You know, and doing it at the level you're doing.
Yeah, but that's the true test of what a fan is. You know, I say it every night on stage. Brent hands me the mic and tells me to say something, and I always say, you know, the fact that, you know, every one of us has a percentage of things that we really like, right? And then there's a very small piece of that any of us would get in our car, leave our house, and go see in person, right?
Yeah.
And like the fact that those people put us in that thing that's really cool, man. You know, I respect that more than any awards or anything like that.
It's also
for sure.
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, I played in a small band when, you know, more than a decade ago, and like the thing that I was always the most excited about, it didn't matter if we played a show that had, you know, 50 people at it or 1,000 people at it. If you had people singing back any one of your songs, that it didn't matter what size of crowd it was. That was a thing that I was always like, all right, that's where you feel as though you've made it, because you know, you've created something that somebody has obviously listened to enough.
It's touched them too. It's touched them. If they're singing it back to you, it touched them in a way that they feel the need to do that when you're playing it in front of them. You know, and I think that's the joy of all of this.
So besides U2 and Thin Lizzy, who are those bands then for you? Like, besides going out, I don't mean like you got a day off and you're just going to go find something, but like, what are the bands that you're like, I got to get to this show?
I mean, I was a diehard Tom Petty fan. Yeah. Still am. I just went to go see Rage the other night. I went to go see Lance Morissette, not last night, but the night before. Collective Soul. Anytime Collective Soul's around, I'm there. Counting Crows, same thing. It's 2 of my favorite bands of all time. When before John Prine passed, if he was around, I'm a huge singer-songwriter. Jackson Browne. I don't really listen, if you haven't been able to tell, I don't really listen like a ton of like rock music. Like, it's just not I love it, and, you know, I grew up on it, but like when I'm in my car, like I'm listening, like people would make fun of me for the shit I listen to.
Yeah, I'm not much different there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm very much like singer-songwriter, like, you know, that's just kind of mine.
I'm either listening to stuff that is way more pop than what, especially than what we build stuff for the most part. Like for me on your amp, like the second channel, like the green channel is my go-to thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm the same way. I grew up as like a blues rock player.
Also very Tom Petty, the green channel.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it. Like you can crank the treble on this. I don't have a 12 string, but you can crank the treble on this and put this on the bridge pickup and play the weighting, and that's like, it's just enough gain. You know what I mean? So that's why, that's another reason not to I know that was it felt like a fake segue, but it was like a real segue into the amp. Like, that's the thing I love, is it is so versatile, and everyone knows me. Like, once all these new kind of digital things came out, like, I became a person that didn't really love amps as much. It kind of took me away from amps. And you've been to my house. I have Dumbles. I have a lot of really cool stuff. And I really, since hearing a Diesel for the first time in 2005, 4, this is the first amp that kind of made my ears stand up a little bit. Like, where I was like, of a new amp. And where I was like, wow, it's really versatile. It can do a lot of things. It's the coolest looking amp of all time, by the way.
Specifically yours.
Specifically mine.
Yes.
Yeah. No, not the other one.
No.
You gotta make yours look like mine if you want it to be super cool.
Yeah.
No, it's just, every channel, and also every channel is distinct.
Yes.
If you look at some of these other 3-channel amps, it's just a louder version or a more gainier version of whatever the previous channel was.
Yeah.
And this thing has its own, the green channels, it is a little bit more bright, and it has a little bit more mid-range, and you can kind of get those kind of jangly bits, but then you can go to channel 3, and then it sounds like anything I would play tonight.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about it, is it has different characteristics instead of just, here's more gain, but the exact same tonal capacity.
Yeah, and I'm not our designer, so what drew me to this, I met my partner Dan because he needed somebody to screen print faceplates for the amp. That's how I got into it.
That's
awesome. And I remember sitting down to try the amp when he brought it over, and I had a dual rec, and I had a Fender 410 DeVille, and I was A/Bing back and forth between the dual rec with channel 3 and channel 4 on his original prototype. And I played for a minute or two and set my guitar down. And I was like, man, how did you do it? I'm like, where did you build it? And he's like, what? I'm like, it's different than the rectifier. I'm like, the things that I don't like and that I can't EQ out of the rectifier,
bushiness.
They're gone here. I'm like, it's just tight. I'm like, it's got this modern voice. I'm like, your clean channel. I'm like, it's not a Fender. I'm like, but I can play this the same that I would play a Fender. I don't need that. You know what I mean?
That's the thing I like. To me, if you have a great dirty amp, which I'm channel 3 all day on this, but if you have a great dirty amp and you can get even a decent clean sound out of it, that's a great amp. You can hand me 1,000 Mesa Boogies and I'm gonna go, absolutely not, on the clean channel. I've owned probably 4 or 5 Boogies over the years, and this isn't a video just for me to shit on Boogie. There's tons of stuff I do like about them. That Lone Star amp they came out with in the early 2000s was amazing. But I have a Trimoverb, a dual rec Trimoverb, that is one of my top 3 amps I own. Over one of the Dumbles. I love the way it sounds, but that's the only amp I've ever found where I can get a good thing out of the dirty, a good thing out of the clean.
I really liked the Electrodyne. I was before I got involved with Revv, I was like, dirty tones were boogie all the way.
Yeah.
And I actually hated Marshalls, which you were at our place yesterday, and I have a bunch of Marshalls now. Yeah. Because I had nothing but really terrible Marshalls in the past.
No, you got to get the good ones. I was the same as you. Yeah. So the biggest gear regret I've ever had in my life, I had a 69 Plexi, salt and pepper face, matching cabs, mint condition. I traded it because it didn't, or sold it because it didn't have reverb. I was also 14.
All right, so we have
it's a true story, by the way.
Not quite the same story because I didn't have a Plexi, but when I was 14, I had a 212 JMP combo that I had bought for $400.
Yeah.
That I sold to a friend for $450 to buy out Marshall valve state because the
Oh.
valve state had.
I didn't do that.
Was it the stereo valve?
That's a
state
little
one?
worse.
No,
Oh,
it
man.
just it had more gain. And I was
Like
like,
what? They didn't have a spider.
yeah, but you know what, man? I owned a Flex Tone. Come on, leave me alone.
Dude, everybody owns a Flex Tone.
Come on. Yeah.
I still have a spider.
Do you?
Yeah, I still have one. It's for me. I remember my dad. We would go to, this was pre-internet, right? So
Yeah.
pawn shops were the best back then. They didn't know what they had.
Yeah.
Literally, Elderly Instruments in Lansing, Michigan changed pawn shops because they would send out that brochure and then they would go, oh, Les Paul, but they didn't know what year, so they'd try to charge you way more for a new Les Paul. But we were going on Summer Avenue in Memphis. We were going to Great American Pawn, and a guy was walking in with that amp. He was pushing the head on top of one cab, and the other cab was in the back of his car. And he was like trying to pawn it for $500. My dad gave him $600 for it. So, and then I remember selling it for $1,000. Even back then, I could have sold it for more money.
I mean, we didn't ask you about this, but
Sad face.
you go ahead and you tell everybody what you done did.
Well, I've owned 2 Dumble Super Overdrives in my lifetime, and first one I bought for $1,000.
I didn't even know this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where the swearing started yesterday. So
he doesn't talk about it because it hurt.
Yeah.
it does.
Like,
my soul is like leaking through me right now. So I bought it for $1,000. I turned around and I sold it for $9,000. A couple years later, thinking, oh man, that was awesome.
yeah.
Found another one come across my way. Needed to be fixed. Guy didn't want it. So I was like, I'll take it. He's like, how much you want? I was like, he's like, $2,500. I was like, okay, so last one for $9,000, no problem.
Yeah.
Sold this one for $15,000. I was like, oh man, I did so well.
Add a 0 to that.
Yeah.
Now they're $250,000,
Yeah.
60,000, 50,000. But if I had two of them, But at the
You
time,
can still find them for moderately decent prices.
but
if
these were
someone's
the
ready to sell.
suede combos.
Combos too.
Yeah, but look, man, we all have like things that we wish we didn't do.
Yeah.
That's 2 of the many that I wish I didn't do. But I could never get them to sound the way I wanted to sound. So at the end of the day, I made money off the end, but I'm not a good enough player to make a Dumble sound good. It's in your hands.
And it's 100. I remember the first time I ever played one before I ever owned one, and I was like, "This thing sounds like shit."
Yeah.
But then I have that twin that he converted and modded, and granted, as a clean amp, there is no better clean. You can turn that thing to 15 and hit a bass note, and it ain't breaking up. Like it is just, and it's big though. It still has the width of it, but it's not breaking up. If I put any pedal in the world in front of that amp, it sounds like dog shit. It sounds like a crate blue voodoo. Like it's just like, what did we just do to this beautiful amp? It just doesn't take pedals. I think the thing with Alex and what he did was every amp was so different. So you can play an ODS and then play another ODS and go, there's no way the same guy made this two amps.
I played the one at Blackbird first, and the first time I played it, I was like, I don't understand like what the hype is about. And right before that, I was at Carter Vintage in Nashville with Mark and Miles from Ultra Bridge in town. And Mark was trying out this Dumble that he was going to buy. It was an overdrive special.
He's got 2 of them, man.
I know. And so I'm sitting.
Probably my 2 still left over.
Yeah. I was in the room with him and Miles in one of their little test rooms while they're playing it. And I remember thinking like he was in love with it. And I remember being like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know if I just am not hearing properly, but I don't understand. And I realized after I got to play one that I'm like, okay, well, if it feels right to you, that's what it is, right? Yeah. Like that's the thing. And earlier this year, I was at Mark's place and I got to try. He had just gotten a new one, and he had 2 of them there, and I got to play them back to back. And you're 100% right. They are so different. And the second one he had is probably the best amplifier I've ever played in my life.
You told me that when you were in my house.
Yeah,
like
and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I can't believe the price that they cost. Like, but it's
just nothing's worth that. Right?
No,
like I've got old. You saw some of my Les Pauls.
Yes.
For what somebody would give me, I'd probably take it, I guess, because I just don't care enough about. It's the same thing. Like, right, we're talking about my shoe collection. I've got, whatever. Who knows? It's a big dollar amount in shoe collection. They're just shoes to me.
Yeah,
I don't care. I care about them because I love Michael Jordan. Like
Yeah.
that's why I love shoes. That's why I got into shoes. But like when it comes to like it's wooden strings, like, I don't understand what the giant difference is between it. And listen, I'm really good friends with Joe Wadalasso, who would ream me out if you heard me say that. Because he, that guy knows. His old tech was the Gibson guy, right? And Joe knows a million things about Gibsons, but Joe can look at any Fender guitar. I don't care what, you can relic it, not show him that it says custom shop on the back, and he can go, oh, that's a custom shop from like, Joe knows everything about Fenders. It's asinine what he knows. And, for me, I love guitars, and I can look at a vintage guitar and kind of tell you a little bit about, but nothing on that level. So like, they don't mean enough to me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
honestly, like I would keep my 65 335 over any of my guitars.
Yeah.
Just how it is. I just love that guitar. I love the way it feels to me.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that. I've played lots of vintage instruments where I'm like a buddy of mine had a 54 Strat for a long time. And he lent it to me and he's like, what do you think? And I was like, I'm going to take my 88 Strat over this all day long. I'm like, and it's not just that it's not set up right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, you need to refret this. There's a bunch of things wrong with it. And it just doesn't do anything. But a buddy of mine that lives just outside of Nashville, like towards Franklin, he had a 56.
Yeah.
56 was unbelievable.
56 was when they started hardtails too, I think.
It, for Strat?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it still had, like, it looked like the same type of bridge as the 54.
They had Tremos too, but I think they made hardtails.
Okay. So, but his was just, it was unreal.
I could text Joe right now.
Yeah. We'll have the answer.
When this is the material they made.
Actually,
this is the factory they came from.
December of 50.
It weighs approximately.
And so was the first one to print them and, stamp them out. Yeah, no, he knows everything.
He's a wild dude.
So I'm with you that, like, just because it's old doesn't mean it's awesome, right? Like,
no,
it totally depends on how it feels.
I've never subscribed to that.
Yeah.
It's, I've never been, I don't like weird to be weird. I don't like cool to be cool.
Right.
That's never been my motto. I don't look at a guitar and go, oh, it's a 56 Strat. It's got to be the best thing ever. And I'll play it and I'll go, man, I got one from 88. I have an 86 and an 88. The 88 was like one of the first year they reissued the Sunburst 54s, I want to say.
Okay.
And it's got a crazy thin neck on it, which is, he knows, not my thing.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I can play anything on it.
Yeah.
Like, I can play faster than I've ever played on any guitar on that guitar. So, I think it's just, it's personal preference, and, it's the same with amps for me.
Yep. 100%. I want anything that feel like, when it comes to amps, I know it's funny because to a lot of guitar players that haven't, if they haven't been playing tube amps for a long time, they don't get the whole feel thing, and they're like, really, it's a feel thing? And I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, it depends on how it compresses. It depends on, like, sustain, all of that kind of stuff for me. Makes a huge difference. How it breaks up, right? And it's interesting because there's a lot of kids that now are big into modeling that have never experienced that. Mm-hmm. And I've been to, like, some of the, like, YouTuber events and stuff like that in Europe, where there's YouTubers that all they've ever used are Axe effects, or all they've used is Helix, and they got to. I remember Pete Thorne set up. We were at Warwick, and they had an original Plexi with a 4x12 there, so he set it up in a soundproof room and dimed everything. He said, like, you got to go in there and you got to try this, because it's like nothing else you've ever done.
Dude, you jump a Plexi and you turn it up to 10. Come on, man. There's like that's the sound. That's AC/DC. That's Led Zeppelin was a lot of Supro, as we found out later. But there's just so many great tones. Like again, in my youth, I was not a Marshall guy.
Yeah.
And as I get older, man, if I find like a major that's like under $3,000, if you see it sell on Reverb, I probably bought it. Marshall majors to me, I love because they're a little more bluesy.
Yep.
A little less gain. So I like that. They're heavy. They're the heaviest amp I've ever picked up in my life. I got two majors that I thoroughly enjoy.
I'm a big JMP fan, and the early JCM 800s.
Yeah.
And specifically, this is probably a little bit of folklore, maybe not, but in the 80s, the JCM 800s, specifically ones for Canada, were labeled the CSA edition, and they all have metal. They all have metal toggles. So I've got
that's not folklore.
And they have safety fuses in the circuit. I've repaired them on, pulled them all out there in the States. Yeah,
I tell you a man who only uses Canadian ones. I've already talked about him 3 times.
Yep.
He told me that.
And they're amazing. Like mine's it's 82 or 84 50 watt. Because what's yours, Dorian's?
I got
Again.
83 and an 82.
You have the 100. I had a 100 watt that I didn't like as much, so I sold it to
I can
him.
tell you right now that Joe Bonamassa will only play Canadian Silver Jubilees.
Yeah,
Yes.
nice.
100%.
So I'm kind of the same way, and so is he. That anytime if we see metal toggles on it, on a JCM 800, we're like, what's that?
Hey,
Hey, what do you want for that?
Yeah.
So
Joe,
changes his
Joe,
guitar.
taught me that. I
Yeah,
think that's what his are. I'm pretty sure. He knows about them. He's only talking about that. He may not be using them. But
they're just there's just something about them. They've got a little bit more drive. They break up a little bit nicer. They sound fatter. And that's a big.
that's
thing
what
for
I
me.
like for me, because when I was younger, the reason I didn't like Marshalls is because the gain was a little mushy, and they sounded thin. Like it sounded like every guitar sounded like a Tele to me.
Right.
Yep.
And then once I got older and I learned how to jump a JMP or whatever, like it really make them kind of how I wanted them.
Blend the channels.
So yeah, blend the channels and dial it in. It's. I remember, but when we were younger, doing fly shows and stuff, and I had to get a Marshall or something.
To this day, my least favorite amp is still the Marshall JCM 2000 TSL.
I thought it would have been the valve state that you traded your.
No, I think I would take that the super lead.
What they did almost like a similar, not JCM 2000, but I remember that one that you're talking about. But they did that one that I have recently, the V something.
Vintage water?
It's 4 channels.
That's a hybrid solid state. Yeah,
Dude, that
System
thing
Up and Down used that one.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
silver panel.
Mine is gold.
Oh, gold.
Is that 410 or whatever it is?
Yeah,
yeah. I know.
It's at my house. I had it at my house when you came over. Yeah, I love that thing, man.
It's got some push buttons on the front too, right?
It sounds really good though.
Yep.
Yeah.
JVM.
Yep.
Yep.
JVM.
Yep.
Oh
Yeah.
It's a new...
I haven't played that because I'll just never see them here. But that's
They sound killer.
Yeah. That was probably about like 7 or 8 years ago. Was when I all of a sudden I was doing a video with. Do you guys know who Joey Landreth is? Slide player. He's actually from here. We were doing a video for 2 Notes actually on the Torpedo Live, and we had borrowed. We had like a 64, 66 deluxe reverb. And we had a 76 JMP, and we had that 800 that I have.
Yeah.
And we were just trying different vintage amps to see how they responded with like the 2 Notes Torpedo stuff. And I first plugged into the JMP, and I was like, "What is this? Like, this isn't a Marshall.
Yeah.
Like, this is amazing." And then I plugged in the 800, and I was like, "Shit! Like, I've been like steering away from this stuff for literally like 15 years because
your 800's the stacked inputs, right?
I know. Yeah.
Those are the ones.
Yeah, mine's been modded. Like you were inside it with us, weren't you? No one can see him. I'm pointing to him.
Yeah. He's not even there.
No, I know. It's just a tripod that I keep talking to.
Weird.
But so I got onto that kick, and then I've been, every time something cool comes up, if I see it, I snag it. And it's kind of between Dorian and I think, in town, that if we see something that pops up on Craigslist or Kijiji here, it's
I picked up a mint 72 Marshall with a laydown transformer and killer.
For me right now too, because the exchange rate's so good, man. I was trying to find guitar sharps yesterday.
Yeah, I've been looking.
I told you, I said like I'd take you to a guitar shop, but there's nothing here. There's just not going to be anything that's got like cool vintage or used. You're gonna Long McQuaid is great, which is like it's our guitar center in Canada. So you'll walk in and your guitar will be hanging on the wall. You know what I mean? But that's it. Like you're not gonna find.
You're not gonna find an old SG or something.
No, and I don't think there is a shop in town that would really have anything like cool and vintage. Like
I could tell you
Ultimate Guitar
off camera.
Yeah, but they have like 10 guitars maybe.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, but it's just Winnipeg's just not that kind of town. Everybody hangs on to their stuff here.
Yeah.
So
Smart.
yeah.
Till later.
So I always wait till I'm in.
Especially when I roll into town and then American dollars.
Yep.
Was it?
Yeah.
It's like $1.30 to the dollar. Yeah.
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 At the mall the other day, I was crushing it.
Oh yeah. Every time I eat, I'm like, how much? $12?
Oh,
So yeah, like $8.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
No, we're good.
All right.
I'm not mad now. I was like, man, that's. Oh no, it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been on the other side too when England's like twice as much.
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah, man, it's fun. It's not a great used gear town, but you get pedals here cheap. I've bought
like pedals.
tons of pedals.
Yeah,
here
you're
cheap.
like pedals.
we're joking about the Klon pedals. Like he has like Zach probably has more Klons than anybody I know. However, I'm in the club, but he has all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got 3 gold, 2 silver, and I have like 6 KTRs.
KTRs, yeah.
I just got a KTR last week.
I bought them all from Bill. He had them in a backpack at NAMM the first year he came out with them, and I said,
Forced him to give
I
it.
said, I'll buy everything in that backpack.
Weren't they like $150 or $200 back then? So you had
160.
Yeah. Just disgusting.
I bought the original Klon that I still have, silver 4C.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got
Short tail
original.
in the box.
He's got a short tail.
Right now, I paid $249 for it in a shop called the Guitar Shop in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I have yet to really play it because I own it, but I don't like it. So I'm holding it.
Really?
Yeah.
I've
tried every Klon out there. I'm trying, friend Matt,
Yeah.
I'm trying a new one that
He made you one.
Yeah,
Have you seen it already?
he shipped it. It's already
It's
run.
supposed to be a surprise.
Oh, he messaged me, asked me what color.
Oh, okay.
I got a white one.
Yeah, because he made this one. It was like a Klondike logo. This
Yep.
is Klon-like.
Yeah,
Nice.
and it's super. I'm super excited to try it because I've literally
It's
tried.
supposed to be a surprise.
Well, yeah, thank you. It's
You're welcome.
my mom picked it up because I'm not in town. She's like, what is this? I was like, I don't know, open it for me, tell me. She's like, oh, it's some pedal. I was like, oh, sick. So, but yeah, I'm willing to try every single Klon out there till I prefer the silvers over the golds just
Me
because
too.
I don't know what it is, but the golds are kind of more collectible. Everybody seems to be trading the golds more, but the short tail, long tail, horsey silvers, good luck finding those. You know, I think John Mayer has them all. For the most part,
Got
you know,
Kenny Wayne's got it.
Kenny Wayne's got tons too. Yeah. I know Joe's probably got some too, but
Joe's got them. I always call them paperweights.
yeah. So
I've got the silver, like the non-horsey silver.
Yeah.
And if you want it to be like a significant amount of gain, I think it's better than the gold.
Yeah.
But if you want just like kind of low to medium gain, the gold's better.
gold compresses more. So
What's funny is that they're all exactly the
Yeah,
same. They really are.
I got my silver one back in September. Actually, no, it wasn't when I was at your place. It was back in September. No, it was when I went to your place. It was just back in March, and I AB'd 2 silver ones back to back, and they didn't sound the same.
What's that?
It was weird.
I'll tell the story whenever Cameron's on. I've known Bill a long time, and I got ones that sound different too.
Yeah.
But it's just tolerance in all the parts too, and you get 20 different parts.
Yeah,
10% tolerance. It's gonna be a little bit.
He knows more about that than I do.
Yeah. Super nerd.
Yeah.
I like it. Like the difference between it and the archers. Like we did that on our live stream comparing the
Archers are sick too.
Yeah, I got
doing
the
the
silver
gold and silver archer versus the gold and silver Klon.
Yeah.
And I'd say that the Klons have this like 5% difference. That is the 5% difference between inspiration and not to me. Like, and I think if you just want that sound,
5% between $150 and $8,000 right
yeah,
now.
exactly.
That's the percent you're
I'm
paying.
just saying, like for me, like that, again, I don't. If anyone knows me, I don't just talk about people because they're here and say good things because they're here. I would rather not say anything. That G3 pedal, man, that's the green one, right?
G2 screen.
G2.
Yeah.
That G2 pedal.
Yeah.
Is, dude, I can make any sound I want with that pedal.
Yeah.
Any sound I want.
Gets super heavy too.
Dude, I can play a blues gig. I can play an AM gig where it's like I'm more Tom Petty type tones, Voxy, or I can play a Shinedown gig with it.
Yep.
I could literally bring in a Fender 112 or 212 and play a whole gig with that pedal. So, I would rather have that. That's easy to say when I have
Everything.
a
Well,
million Klons, but
yep. I'm the same way with our pedals that like the G2 has kind of always been my favorite thing because I got into Marshalls, right? Like I got into more like thicker crunch tones, and that's what that pedal does really well. And the green channel specifically on the Generator 740, which is the smaller version of this, that's the one like Eric used to have, or like Hoogie's got one that Eric had. And the green channel on that amp is specifically that crunch tone for me.
Right.
And the G2 is extremely close to that amp. Yeah.
When Zach first got this amp, I was like, oh, I get to play it first before Zach comes in. I'll set it up down in a little bit, and I was like, oh man, this thing's cool. I was like, hey Hoogie, I think I need to buy one of these things. So I did. So
You did,
I
yeah.
did. So, but same thing for me. Like the clean channels, ripping and fat, and then I'm kind of with Zach on a channels 2 and 3 are kind of what did it for me. I don't really go heavier than anything, and
I don't ever need a fourth channel.
And I don't really-
up ever.
I can't shred. I'm the world's okayest guitar player without me. And like, I shred all the cowboy chords. I got you.
Yeah.
But now, like if you're gonna play something that you just want pure tone, I mean, channels 2 and 3 on this thing, I build amps, and I'm telling you, it's awesome.
Thanks,
know,
man. Like,
so-
it's, yeah.
I mean, so much so I bought one, and I bought the cabinet that goes with it just because I had to have it meant.
She didn't do it the cool color. Like
No. I went black, white corners, silver trout bunt, and then all the cabinets, black cabinets, white piping.
That's my personal 120 is that like Peter Trout color.
Yeah.
That's my
That was
favorite
cool.
thing.
But
the ice cream dream is where it's at.
I get you. We are totally opposite all the time.
You're like, I can get in any color I want.
As long as that's just sick amp.
Yours can be the Liam, mine can be the Noel.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mine's nerdier.
Awesome. Well, man, thanks for taking some time with us. And
appreciate it.
yeah, it's awesome seeing you again and hanging out a bit. And
For sure.
yeah. And Zach also, I will say, is responsible for giving me the recommendation for the best ribs I have ever had in my life. And
Listen,
like,
if I know anything, I know I have a lot of Klons, and I know that I can tell you where to get a good meal, literally in any town in the world.
Yeah, I told him if you recommended barbecue and you didn't eat there, you lost out on a good meal.
oh,
I can. Yeah.
it was
Even here, man. Like I walked around yesterday.
Germantown Commissary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I catered my wedding, dude. So like,
Yeah.
like I'm redneck, right? But like to have a barbecue place cater your wedding is a little bit too redneck. But like their food is so good.
It was unbelievable.
It was amazing.
And I eat, like, I'm in Nashville a lot, and I eat barbecue in the South. Not as much as you do because you live there, but that's the go-to when we're there. And Travis and I, when we left for a place, we were like, yeah, okay. He said it's the best ribs ever. We'll try it. And like, as soon as we started eating, we were like, he's not wrong. Like, not at all.
Here's the thing. To me, the sign of a good barbecue place, right? Because there's a place in Memphis that is it's now a chain, but when it started, it was just a Memphis thing. It was not a chain. It's called Corky's.
Yep.
They have one in Nashville.
Yep.
I still to this day say if you get a good set of Corky's ribs,
Yep.
hands down the best rib I've ever had by a long shot.
Yep.
Too. But to me, if you're going to tell someone to go get ribs and you don't know if they're going to be the best they've ever been on that particular day, I'm saying go to Germantown Commissary because more often they're great than they're bad.
Yep.
Don't go on Mondays because it's all you can eat ribs. That means it's just the shit they didn't sell on Sunday.
Yep.
Sorry, Walker. That's the owner. Sorry. Giving away your secrets here. Yeah, but dude, that place it's so good, dude. And tamales are like it's a barbecue place and they have some of the best tamales I've ever had in my entire life.
So if you're ever in Memphis area,
Germantown Commissary.
yep. And if not, Corky's.
Yeah. Go find a Corky somewhere.
Yep.
Tell them to give you the big end of the ribs.
Nice. All right, Zach.
Thanks
Drew,
for having
thanks,
me.
guys.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks
Thanks
for watching.
Let me clear my throat.